Good morning. Right, it's now just gone 10 minutes to 5. So I've got maybe half an hour to 40 minutes before the carer arrives. So I'm just going for a quick walk just to recover some of my energy. Because I've got training session at 9, and then it's gonna be all day my sister and sewing. So need to make sure I've got plenty energy for that, because yesterday I mostly failed in everything that I set out to do work-wise. I was supposed to, a pair of curtains is supposed to be getting collected today, but I haven't finished them because there was so much going on yesterday. Anyway, right, I'm gonna begin at the beginning and end at the end. So this video, it's gonna be about not necessarily the life and times of Mother, more so the role that my sister, the one I'm looking after, played. I don't blame people for whatever situation I find myself in, because I have said right from the beginning that I saw that she needed help, and I chose to come and look after her, to help her rather, until such a time as she was able to get back on her feet. But I didn't realize I'd be here 2.5 years later. So, right, I'll begin. So it was back in the late 90s. I'm gonna say 96, 90. Well, it certainly was, because I was at that house when Princess Diana died. So that was 97. And during that time, here's what was happening. Right, so I was living elsewhere, minding my own business. And my brother contacted me and said he thinks it would be a good idea if I moved back to what was the family home, which was a 4-bedroom house, 3 double bedrooms, single bedroom, 2 receptions, downstairs toilet, kitchen. And because he was worried about my sister, the one I'm looking after, because to his mind, Mother was sort of domineering, having that effect over her anyway. And he was concerned she might have some kind of a breakdown. So I went back, and cutting a long story short, my job was to, if you like, be her backbone until she could have her own backbone, until she could develop one rather. So, because I was there, and if you like, I was standing up for her, Mother didn't like it. And so, what I haven't told you as yet was they both had bought the house. So they were equal. They had equal shares in it. So Mother decided she's going to sell the house. Didn't ask my sister whether she agreed to it or not. My sister had no opinion in this. So, anyways, she decided to sell the house, and she was entitled to £15,000 from the sale of the house. This is going back to 1997. Definitely 1997. But with everything that was going on, Mother was saying she would rather burn it down than give her anything from it. There's all kinds of antics going on in that house. And everybody, including her brother-in-law, was encouraging her to walk away. She's young, she can start again. So anyway, this persisted, and I was the only person, not bigging up myself or anything. I was called a narcissist yesterday, by the way. That's another story for another video. So I was the only one who encouraged her to fight, not so much fight for her money, because I was doing that for her. But I encouraged her anyway to get her money. And I succeeded in getting her mother to give her share of the money. But in so doing, there was an incident that I've never said on camera, but it's appropriate and you'll know why when I've finished. But in the process, she tried, this is mother, to kill me. And people, this might be controversial and people might say, oh, it was an accident, because people always think that. But when I tell you the end of the story, you will understand that it is possible that someone can do this. For daring to stand up to her on behalf of my older sister, she tried to gas me. She went out and left the gas on. It's a long story. I will go into it some other time. But I will tell you what saved my life. One of the senior missionaries from church, a white American man, called me, found the house, just out of the blue, to say hello. I have no reason to be calling you. I just felt I should give you a ring to say hi. And it was when I opened the bedroom door. Remember, there's 4 bedrooms in this house. And I was in one room cutting fabric. I was making cushions. And I was in there locked in making cushions. She went out. And it was when I came out onto the landing open the door onto the landing to go onto the phone. That's when I smelled the gas. Right, so I could hear her getting her story straight. This was sometime later. I opened all the windows. I could hear her up this road getting her story straight with one of the neighbors talking about gas. And then when she put the key in the door, opened the door, she shouts, "Liz?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "I can't believe my luck." Now, most people, if they came in and smelled gas, sorry, my phone's frozen again, but bear with me. If they came in and smelled gas, they would start shouting to check that the person is all right. "Can you smell gas or something?" She said, "I can't believe my luck." Right, so long story short, my sister managed to get away from that situation. But then, by and by, sort of like coming forward, because mother died this year, March, I believe it's March the 2nd, 2022 this year. By and by, up until the point where she developed her health problem, she was always visiting mother, who ended up, as a consequence of her own doing, let's say, she ended up living all the way in Kent, far away. So my sister used to trek every other Saturday, all the way over to Kent on a Saturday, and for Christmas, all the way to Kent. And then there was one time when she had, I think it was a hip replacement. She sacrificed all of her summer holiday. She worked in a school. She was a PA to the headmistress. Sacrificed all of her summer holiday to go and stay with her. So if you stick with me, I will come and I will explain to you the end of the story. Some people know because we spent much of yesterday sort of going back and forth talking about it. Now, a week ago, I think it was last Wednesday morning, I came out again I made a 40-minute video. I came out to restore my energy, just as I'm doing now. But I'm also, killing two birds with one stone, taking the opportunity to, if you like, just while I'm talking. So, having, escaped mother, she was sort of like, for 23 years, and 2020, that's when she first got ill. She was still traipsing behind her, sacrificing for her. Sorry. And then I'm going to jump all the way forward now. Come a week ago, my sister in Canada was sending me messages on WhatsApp, and which resulted in her contacting the stranger who mother picked up, if you like, off the street some months. I could actually go back because I've got everything logged and documented. So there's this stranger that she picked up, and basically the video's there. It's a 40-minute video. So this woman, she left in charge of, well, she met this person and whatever. That's what she does. She picks up strangers, and they're the best thing in the world, and then she tires of them, and then she dumps them. So let's just say that this stranger outlived her, and as a consequence of outliving her, she managed to get her hands on all her earthly goods. So, so the message that my sister sent me was that there's a trust fund. So with that in mind, this supposed trust fund, I said, well, get her to call me. I didn't ask for the number, I said, get her to call me. So the trust fund is supposed to be for my sister. And I already said what I said about that. So I won't go back into it. But then forward a week, yesterday my brother, I saw a missed call from him. Because when I'm in the house, I keep my phone on silent, so, notifications and the things from email and all of that don't disturb me. And I noticed a missed call on my other device. So I called him back, and he just cut straight to the chase. He said he managed to get hold of mother's will, and there is no trust fund. That she left everything to this woman. That house she bought with the proceeds from the house that she bought subsequently after selling the one that she and my sister bought. So this is the house after the house. She bought that cash. And so I don't know how much the house is worth now, but basically that house and everything that she had on this earth now is in the hand of a white woman who has a black man at home that she met not long before she died. And so my brother got hold of the will, and all right, so it just, like I said, he cut to the chase, and he said there is no trust fund. So this woman, I'm not gonna say she's a crook or anything, but for since March, 9 months. She's been lying. Well, when they wanted to get hold of her, they couldn't, my brother and sister. She hasn't made herself available, let's say. But for 9 months, they were of the belief that there was a trust fund and this woman was, doing the decent thing and taking care of everything as her mother's wishes. So anyway, there is no trust fund. This woman's lying. She is straight up lying. And so there's some other woman called Rachel who she left £5,000 for. But she left everything to this white woman and this black man, this couple. And not 1 pence, I repeat, not 1 pence for my sister, who basically spent all her life committed to being mother's little helper. Left absolutely nothing for her. Now this woman who's got hold of everything, who everything was left to, she knows that my sister has medical problems. How cold and heartless do you have to be lying to this woman's 2 children, i.e. my brother and sister, a sister in Canada, my brother, to be lying to them all this time, pretending there's a trust fund, because she would know that it is not ethical to be in that position. So when I said in the 40-minute video that the way the trust fund, this trust fund that was supposed to be administered, was that the social worker, I should get in touch with the social worker or something to that effect. I've got the WhatsApp message anyway. And then I need to provide information, this, that, all sorts of paperwork. And then she would pay the money out personally. So you see, this woman is a proper crook if she knows all the logistics of how to get around operating a supposed trust fund. So as I said, my sister got nothing, not 1 pence. Now, I am the kind of person, I don't look to anybody for anything. It's right. What's yours is yours, basically. I don't expect anything from you. But given my sister's situation, and given that the last message that my brother-in-law recorded and brought for my sister to listen to from mother was, I can't help you and you can't help me. And all this time, she'd made a will and left everything to this stranger called Natalie. So how wicked do you have to be able to send such a message to your daughter, who you are going around crying to all sorts of people? I've got so many witnesses as regards her behavior. You're crying to everybody about how concerned you are for your daughter, ringing up the agency that provides the carers and lying to them that I'm starving my sister and abusing her. And this agency, they don't, instead of looking into whether or not it was a malicious complaint, despite them asking the carers to check if everything's all right. Have you ever seen her eating, her being my sister? Are there any bruises on her, and so on? Despite them bringing them up every day, because presumably mother was ringing them every day, and she's very convincing. So I can only imagine, but I'm not imagining because I know what she's like. She could charm a rattlesnake. right? So the agency had me on the suspicion, and despite the fact the carers were telling them there's nothing untoward going on. So jumping back to yesterday, long story short, I contacted them because with a mind to reporting the social worker who wasn't responding to my calls. I left him voice messages. I sent him a copy of the supposed trust fund WhatsApp message from this stranger, Natalie. I'd sent it to him by text message, and he wasn't responding to my messages. But so what I did was I contacted the agency and reported the situation to them. But what I did, I told them that the bailiffs were coming to collect within 72 hours. That was what was written on the letter that was dropped through the letterbox. And they were coming to collect £1,539 in council tax. Because my thing is, nobody is paying me to look after my sister. In order to qualify for carer's allowance, I'm only allowed to earn like £100 a week or something like that. So that means I'm doomed to exist on the sofa forever. I'm never going to have any quality of life if left to the authorities. So, on principle, why should I be paying the council? Because my sister doesn't have enough money to cover all the bills anyway, right? So I subsidize her, whatever. Whatever's needed, when she doesn't have enough, I cover it. So long story short, I found them and they didn't want to talk to me. Yesterday, they just didn't want to talk to me because, obviously, they contacted social services, and so basically they've got the agency that supplies the carer and the social worker are supposed to be working together. But the way they responded to me yesterday when I called to say that he'd been in touch, because he called on Tuesday, but I was having my post-training sleep at the time when he called, so it was a missed call and a voice message. So I then, after I spoke to them, I tried calling him. He didn't answer. So I left him another voicemail, and eventually he called me from a private number and hung up the phone. He hung up when I started to list his demeanors. You don't want to have the conversation. So he hung up after 59 seconds. I've got that, so I can keep that as well. I've got everything logged for future reference. So then he sent me an email, and it was, you wouldn't think it's the same person, because obviously he's writing the email with the intention that his bosses are going to see it. So he's trying to make out he doesn't know who Natalie is, and he puts in brackets, sister ? It's like, is Natalie one of my sisters? And I've already told him that she's a white woman that mother picked up off the street. You see, so he's playing this kind of game. So there's going to be some almighty battle, because for me it's not about the money. It's about the principle of these people that I don't know bringing my name into a situation. Because mother went to her grave trying to spite me. You see, but for everything, you could say my sister wasted her life chasing after a mother who ultimately stuck two fingers up at her and left her with nothing. 0 pence. Not even a mention in the will. Right, so that's that. So on my part now, as you see me as I am, everything always gets dumped on me. I am not someone who has victim mentality. So this is not somebody talking, doing the poor me routine. I am telling you a concise history of what happens when you go chasing after people who don't deserve the time of day. I spent yesterday evening, I was supposed to be sewing, I was so tired, I abandoned what I was doing. And I spent yesterday evening reflecting and tying up some loose ends with some people that no longer feature in my life, kind of thing. So, just like deleting numbers, just like that. People I will never have contact with again. And as I'm going through, I'm thinking there's not one person here who is in a position, if I need support, let's just say that I was somebody who was fragile and needed an arm around me or something. There is nobody, not a soul, right? So this is why you see I have to come out on the road at this time in the morning to find peace. It's later than what I would normally, it's later, I normally come out earlier than this. I was lying there for a while, unable to sleep, and I just thought, let me just come out and get some fresh air and so on, and I'll just record this while I'm out. But that's a sorry tale. So, but the bottom line is I'm stuck with my sister. I am stuck with her because there's no financial provisions for her. I've said this before, I don't look at dead people's money as a solution. So, for example, I'm not one for life insurance policies and all of that. But the point is, she has other family members and friends. And unless I can get into a situation that can take me off the sofa, if you should see how I live, the carers can bear witness to that. Everything is on top of me. I sleep on the sofa, and sometimes I've got fabric, and they're leaning up next to me. Or by day I put stuff on the sofa, and by night I use my sister's chair. I have to move things around to make space for me to sleep. That's how I've been living for the last 2.5 years. And Mother knew that. And she went to her grave, and as a final FU, she left everything to this white woman that she picked up off the street. And I say white because, people might say, why do you keep saying it's a white woman? It's because, you see, some, not all, but there's a pattern with black people, like I said, some, not all, where they don't look after their children. They don't support their children in such a way that they can, give them something to help them climb up in life. One of the neighbors downstairs, he's just moved in, he's bought a flat for his son. He's bought a flat in the building where my sister lives for his son. That's what he's doing. My mother kicked me out when I was 17. You see, so I've done pretty good for myself at this point. And if it wasn't for the fact that, all right, I've said that I chose to help my sister. But they're talking about caring, the service. Let me tell you what the carers do. They come in the morning. So this one's, that's probably her now, just going around the corner, arriving. They turn up. Or the one that comes in the morning, she gets her out of bed, she takes her to the bathroom, she washes and dresses her and puts her back to bed. The one that comes in the evening gets her up out of the chair, takes her to the toilet, puts her to bed. That is what the carers do, nothing else. That's all they do. I do everything else. So like last night I was so tired and I had this deadline for today. I sent an email to the customer to say that I'm exhausted and I don't think I'm going to be able to get this job done for tomorrow. And he was ever so understanding. Imagine, I have more understanding from my customers than for, I don't want to say family because I don't have put expectations on people, but literally there is no support system for me. This is my support system, walking around on the street in the dark to try and get some good energy just to, when the carer goes, I'm going to go back to sleep for an hour and a half before I go training, because I did hope that I would be able to get up early and start sewing so that I could get this other curtain finish for the customer. But I just don't have the kind of energy required to be up at this time in the morning sewing. Because you have different energy supplies for different things. So I do have the energy to be out here walking, but not to be standing sewing. So when she comes, I need to let her in, and then I'm going to go back to sleep. But yeah, like I said, that's the end of it. After everything that my sister ever did in her life for mother, she gave it all to a complete stranger that she met. And as I said, I'm not saying anything against white people. I'm just saying that this white woman and her 2 children are going to be better off thanks to the generosity, if you like. Well, it's not really generosity in their mind. They might like to think that. But because of the wickedness of this one black woman. So there you have it. I mean, there's a lot more that I could go into, but like I said, the thing that I'm going to wind up by saying, the thing that I was left with last night, which is why I was deleting people, well, not deleting them because, oh, you're no good to me, I don't need you in my life kind of thing. It wasn't like that. I just thought, let me just clear. I need to sort of like, when you spring clean or where you declutter or something, I thought, let me just do that because I can go right through my contacts and there's not one person here that I can rely on. And not just that, but the record is there for all who see and know I've been doing this on my own. Like I just said, what the carers do. Get her out of bed, wash and dress her, put her back to bed. And I think I said in a previous video that in 2 years and all the time the carers have been coming, not once have they brushed her teeth. And I did mention it to, we had like over the phone meeting with regards to service. And I did mention that the carers don't brush her teeth and never have done. So all of these responsibilities, you want to talk about care. She's not actually, all it is that would be, if I had the time, I could do the washing and the dressing out, on a daily basis. I could do that myself, but it's just, that's what they provide. I mean, for modesty purpose, because I'm kind of funny like that, I wouldn't really want to be washing and dressing another adult. Well, it's just me. It's just the way I am. But so that is, if they were to end the care package, that's all I would do. I'd just pay somebody to come every day and wash and dress her, because that's not something that I personally would want to do. Because, like I said, that's just me. But then I wouldn't want anybody to wash and dress me. I would sooner die than to be in that situation. So it cuts both ways. There's so much more that I could say, but I'm going to leave this here for now. But I just wanted to sort of give a concise history of how, for all my sister did for mother, she went to her grave. And, if anything was to happen to me, my sister would go in a care home. And while she was alive, my mother used to work in care homes, and she worked as a home helper back in the day. And she sees the way they treat the people in the care homes. And she said, over her dead body is Gloria, my sister, going into a care home. That's what she said. She didn't want that to happen. but she's left everything to this stranger. And so if anything was to happen to me, that's where she would end up. Do you see? So I don't even really know what to say from here on in. But, suffice to say that not so much that these are interesting times, because I am supposed to be moving, actually. I'm supposed to be moving, but the house isn't ready. But with everything going on at the moment, I don't think I should. I think, because that wasn't my plan. My plan wasn't to rent a house. My plan was to buy a house, but I'm not in a position to do that, given my circumstances here with my sister. But because of everything that's going on, I can't be in two places at the same time. So I think even if the house is ready, I'm going to have to let it go and just ride it out for the time being until this thing is resolved. But like I said, for me, it's not about the money. It's the fact that the people have been mishandling my name and all sorts of other things. And chickens are coming home to roost, because there were a lot of people that mother was calling and crying, and they have a poor opinion of me because she was leading them to believe that I'm not capable of looking after my sister. And my bottom line in being there is she doesn't want to go in a care home. She absolutely doesn't want that. And because she doesn't want that, she knows that here I go again, I'm the only person who would see to it that she doesn't end up in a care home. And I've already, at the beginning of this video, I already said that I was the one that ensured that she got her £15,000 when mother was saying she'd rather burn down the house and give it to her. So you can then understand why she would want me to be the person in charge. Because imagine if mother was trying to persuade her to come and live with her. And imagine if she died, and my sister would have been in a care home somewhere in Rochester. And, languishing if she hadn't died by now, because she doesn't have that fighting spirit, as I've indicated. But, there are so many lessons here. I'm not going to say that I'm suffering as a consequence, because I'm still, I still have perfect peace of mind. It's just occasionally people sort of like come into the mix to cause disruptions. I always say Satan has his people. So again, that's one reason why I was sort of getting rid of certain contacts, because even last night I had some men messaging me from like Facebook, people that I know in from years going back and all of that. So I've had sort of like, for me, I don't see the point of a man. When I say this, because it's like they want supporting, they need support, and it's sort of like, at this particular time in my situation, there are no men coming to give me a hand. My sister hasn't left the house since March 2021. There are no strong men coming and offering to help take her down the stairs so I can take her to the park or something. There's just not that. Even if you ask for assistance, it's not forthcoming. It's just, time has proved that it might sound like I'm disillusioned with human beings, but when I say made videos where I've said I'm done with human beings, that is from the perspective that they only bring trouble. They don't bring anything into the mix apart from trouble. So the last thing that I would need is some man who, with all the sweet talk and everything, but there's no backup. Like I said, if I was a weak person, if I was vulnerable or something, and just needed, an arm around my shoulder, a hug, or a pep talk or anything, there is nobody to provide that. I have my one good friend, Margaret. And I noticed, I turned around last night when I was deep in thought, when I was sewing. I was thinking, I am so tired, I don't know how I'm going to get this job finished. And in the end, I just contacted the customer, and it was, like I said, it was really nice. But at that point, I turned around and I saw my phone ringing, and it was my friend Margaret. And I said to her that, I've known her for many years, we used to work together. And I said to her, so she knows the whole history of this family, that I said to her that she is my support system. I said to her, do you realize you're my support system? And she goes, I'm not really, because there's not a lot I can do, because she lives with her mother kind of thing. And but if I need something, if I needed financial help or something, she would be there, and she'd be the first person I would go to. She's good in that way. If I needed her to go and get something for me, she would do that. But if I was to say for somebody, I needed some kind of emotional support or something, thank God I'm not, I practice healthy mind, healthy body, healthy spirit, self-development. Thank God for that, because without that, I wouldn't be out here recording this video. So now the care is due to come. So I'm going to go back and prepare myself for when she does get here. So in other words, I don't want her to see that I've been on the road or anything. So I'm going to go back and do as though I was in bed all the time and be done with that. All right, so I'm going to wind up here, but I'll probably do another video on my way from training, but keep listening. Even if the video freezes, I think, I think it's got something to do with this time in the morning. It's kind of cold, and I think maybe the cold freezes the video. But anyway, you can still hear the audio. Have a lovely morning. Look after yourselves and be wise. Learn from this experience that I just shared, and don't take to your bosoms rattlesnakes, right? Because a rattlesnake's going to do what a rattlesnake does. Take care.